Hello guys, my name is Abhishek Appasaheb Phand. My designation is assistant professor. My roll number is 13. The name of the course is refresher course in Indian languages. It is organized by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Sambhajinagar. The topic for micro teaching is introduction to structuralism. So about structuralism. So structuralism was one of the most prominent movement in 20th century. It shaped how people uh, looked at things. Structuralism started as a linguistic movement and then it spread across uh, all the streams of human sciences. And structuralism was the theory that was not limited to literature. Uh, it is something that converted literary theory into critical theory. It was something that started the multidisciplinary thinking about human when we talked about human sciences. So, so structuralism promoted a structural study of the subject to understand the subject. So let's say a researcher wants to study society. So how a structuralist will analyze the society? He will study the structure of the society. Or if he wants to analyze the language, he will study the structure of the language. Or if he wants to research about an organization, what he will do is study the structure of that organization, and in that way he will try to explain and understand that subject matter. So the movement of structuralism was started after Sassu's course in general linguistics. So in 1916, Saussure's course in general linguistics was published. He was originally a Swiss linguist who delivered lectures in France in 1930, and that one of his students published the notes of that lecture, which later became a course in general linguistics. So about Ferdinand de Saussure. So Ferdinand de Saussure was the person who started structuralism. Uh, so he was a Swiss linguist, semiotician, and philosopher. His book, Course in General Linguistics, pioneered a new approach towards study of linguistics. Earlier, Proto-Indian European language was something that every linguist used to study about. So all the linguists of the world used to find this Proto-Indian European language. What they thought that was the original language of the humans, and out of which all the different languages like Sanskrit, Latin, Greeks originated. This was the theory that humans first language was Proto-Indo-European and other languages developed from it. So what Saussure did was he completely changed how linguists view the language and how linguists studied the language. And this gained him the title of father of modern linguistics. So the first question that Saussure proposed was, what makes the language meaningful? Uh, what is it that makes language intelligible for humans? So according to Saussure, the inherent structure of the language is what makes language meaningful. So Saussure defined each word as an arbitrary word. So each word does not follow any rule. It is arbitrary in nature. And when so many arbitrary words come together, it is the structure uh, that puts a system and meaningful, intelligible system to that arbitrariness of the words and gives it a meaning. And Saussure also pointed out that it's convention that bridge the gap between a word and what it refers to. Let's say the word cow and the animal it refers to. Uh, because from centuries ago, people are calling it cow, we call it cow. So that convention is what makes us believe that a word stands for the animal that it refers to or the thing that it refers to. So Saussure put forth a key concept of difference. So for Saussure, Saussure defined difference as principle of difference. Saussure said that words originate because they are different from the other word. Let's say raise, ways, maze, days, they are different. That's why these words have their own meaning. If raise and ways, uh, if let's say ways was also called as raise, then raise itself would be meaningless, because in a structure both the words will, if used in a structure, both the words will be meaningless. So Saussure pointed out that the difference does not separate a word from another word, it also separates its meaning from another meaning. So for Saussure, it is difference that is key for making a structure meaningful. So a dog is a dog because it is not a cow or a cat. The difference is another reason for meaningfulness of language. Saussure then puts forward a concept of sign. Uh, Saussure put forth a equation wherein signifier and signified combined becomes a sign. So a word for Saussure is a sign. Uh, what he means by that is, when we say word, so inherent to that word is the meaning or the object that it refers to. And Saussure want to break this convention, and that's why he called a word a sign. What he wants to say that the object that it relates to or that it refers to is not that word. It is something different. So a sign is only a concept in human mind that we use to refer to an object. It does not actually mean that object. It is only that we think that it means so. And so Saussure divided the sign into signifier and signified. So signifier is a word as it is written or spoken. Let's say cow. So COW, or when we say cow, the pronunciation of cow, or when it is written COW, it is the signifier. And signified is the meaning that we understand, or the mental image that we get inside our mind of a cow. Let's say an Indian person says cow, he will imagine a cow that is native to his place. And let's say a Westerner say cow, he will instantly imagine a cow that is native to his place. Or let's say we go to Germany and we don't know what dog means in German, and someone says Hund, which means dog in German, we will not get any image in our mind. When the person next to us clearly referring to dog, we know what dog is, but the mental image will not generate in our mind because Hund does not equate with dog for us, and that is what Saussure pointed out. So earlier, humans or linguists thought of language as a natural phenomenon. Saussure distinguished language from this earlier perspective. He pointed out that language is artificial, but it becomes subconscious to us. That's how we think of it as a natural phenomenon. Uh, a word is a sign, which in truth is a concept and not the object. So, what Saussure wanted to stress was that the word we utter is a combination of the words we speak or the word we write and the mental image that we get in our mind, and not the object that is in there in real life. So Saussure brilliantly said that words do not touch the object, it hovers around it. When a word is uttered, it refers to the sign, that is concept, and not the object. And Saussure defined language as a system of signs. So language is something that is a system created out of these different signs. And Saussure then put forth concept of langue and parole. So langue for Saussure is the fundamental structure of the language. Lang denotes a system of internalized shared rules of governing a national language's vocabulary, grammar, and sound system, wherein parole are the individual acts of speech. Parole is the application of system. Let's say there is subject called linguistics. Linguistics has its own set of rules, it has its own set of language, uh, it has its own set of structure. So the language that is used in linguistics, that will be lang of linguistics. And now I am talking about structuralism. I am using my personal language. I am using the language in my capacity. So mine will be parole. It is so to compare it, lang is a sea and parole is a bucket that we take out of it for our personal use. So lang is like a dictionary, wherein parole is a sign system of an individual that a person speaks, and parole for each person is different. Lang for every person is similar, but parole is different for every person. Then Saussure put forth relationship among signs, that is syntagmatic relation and paradigmatic relation. So syntagmatic relation is a horizontal relation that a sign in a structure has along with other signs. So a sign is in two types of relation according to Saussure: a syntagmatic relation and a paradigmatic relation. Let's see the example. Ram ate a mango. So there are three signs, and they all these three signs are in a syntagmatic relation with each other. Let's say ate is in a syntagmatic relation with Ram and mango. So this horizontal relation is what Saussure calls as a syntagmatic relation. So subject, verb, object, complement, adverbial. These When these elements are used in a single sentence, what they have with each other is a syntagmatic relation. The second relation that Saussure talks about is paradigmatic relation. So just like a structure, the science of structure that has in a way syntagmatic relation along its elements, the elements or the science of that structure has paradigmatic relation with the elements which do same role, who perform similar role in other structures. Let's say he makes good food. So here makes is performing role of verb, and so this makes has a paradigmatic relation with every verbs in every sentence. Let's say makes has a paradigmatic relation with creates, desires, likes. Each verb that can replace makes in this sentence, it has paradigmatic relation. Similarly, the word he has a paradigmatic relation with she, it, they, Ram, Gopal, etc. etc. So in this way, syntagmatic relation is horizontal, and wherein paradigmatic relation is vertical. Wherein paradigmatic relation is with the is with the elements that can replace the existing element, or the signs which can replace the existing sign. And linguistic determinism. So Saussure put forth the concept of linguistic determinism. So Saussure had a question that what precedes what? Does language precede thought, or the thought precedes language? And this was a very key thought for Saussure. If language precedes, if thought precedes language, then how can we think without language? And if thought precedes language, or if language precedes thought, then how we made the language without thinking? So Saussure point out that it's language which human use to perceive the world, wherein science, which are concepts, are means to analyze reality. So Saussure give a very simple explanation to his answer. So language is a system of science, and we use language to refer to real world. So in a way, what Sasur wanted to say is, to understand the real world, we have to use language, and the understanding of the real world will always be limited to the use of our the way we use our language. So Saussure states that language precedes thought, as thought depends on language for actualization. Let's say you have a really amazing thought, but you don't know the exact word to express that thought, and or even think about that thought, then that thought will not come into actualization. So in a way, you are dependent on language. So, how does this linguistic determinism work? Let's say the term for snow in Marathi is missing. In Marathi, we have barf, which is ice, and the barf itself comes from Urdu, not a native Marathi word. So, because there was no need for Maharashtrians to express barf or ice, and there is no phenomena called snow in Maharashtra. The word for snow is missing. So because and let's say a person in Maharashtra goes to Kashmir and now he is experiencing snow, he cannot express that it is snowing, and he cannot say the ice are falling, or Gara, which is hailstorm, they are falling, because both are different phenomena. If ice are falling from sky, your head will break. So now he has to use word from another language, and thank God Maharashtrians are bilingual or can speak multiple languages. Let's say a person who speaks no languages but Marathi goes to Kashmir or Switzerland, and he has to express what he is seeing. So his reality will be, in a way, limited or determined by the language he is using. Another peculiar example in Maharashtra is, in Marathi, especially in rural area, west is referred as upside, whereas east is referred as downside. And if, let's say, Maharashtrian goes to any Hindi belt or English speaking nation, and he refers west as upside or east as downside, the person he is speaking to will not understand it. Wherein in Maharashtra, because rivers flow from west to east, the water flows from higher side from lower to lower side, west is referred as upside. So this way, language determines how we see the world. So for Maharashtrian, west will always be upper side, wherein the Indian culture, in a way, values and calls east as auspicious, yet Maharashtrians see west as upside. So in this way, the language determines how we see the world. And to sum it up, it's language that shapes our understanding of reality. So thank you for bearing with me in this macro teaching.